Oh, hey guys. So, as you saw with this little clip I just showed you, I created a series of transitions wherein part of the video shows up on top of the previous video. This is done with an effect called the track matte. Track matte, right? So a matte, if you were to think about like the way they were originally used, is simply just a method of masking off a portion of the screen. So sometimes what you'll have is movies that were projected or filmed with an open matte, and so you were supposed to put like a matte in front of the projector. That's sort of gone away. Nowadays it's all done digitally. But a track matte essentially is where you have two different tracks, and one of the tracks is matting the lower track. And so it involves, at the very least, three different elements. So what I've got is I've got several videos here that I've grabbed. I've got this little bumper cars, this race cars here. I'm just going to enter in all these. And I'm just going to do some 5-second long clips from each one of these guys. So I'm just going to drag one in. Well, they're all in now, so it's okay. So I'll just drag one in, and I'll maybe cut it down to like 5 seconds or so. Let's see here if I can't get in about 5 seconds. About 5 seconds. And what we'll do is we will grab the next one and sort of put it on top to where we have like maybe a second or two of transition, and I'll have it last for about 5 seconds as well. So let's actually have them together, and I'll just sort of like extend this out slightly. Okay, so we've got these two. The whole idea is what I want to do is I want to have this clip here, pardon me. I want to have this clip here basically pop up from behind the other clip. I want it to sort of appear in a sort of limited fashion. So the easiest way of doing that is to create a little mask, a little matte here by using our color mats. So we go over here to color matte, and we'll just make it the same height. I downloaded these pictures, just FYI, when you download your videos from Pixabay or YouTube, you just want to make sure they're all the same size. Make sure they're all, if you choose the HD, make sure they're all HD. They're all 1920 by 1080. It's going to make it a lot less hassle later on if you don't have different sizes. Anyways, I'm going to make this color matte. I'm going to make it white. It's a color matte here. I'll call it track matte 1, right? So I'll have this little track matte hanging out here, and I'll just like put this, and I'll layer it over these two. And in fact, I'm going to make it about, so it's already about 5 seconds long, I want to say. So I'll make it a little longer than 5 seconds, maybe like 7 seconds long, actually. And I'll just kind of cut this guy down to size. Okay, so here's where we create our little transition. I want to click on my little race car thing here. First off, though, I'm going to get my little track matte. I'm going to shrink it down slightly. I'm going to shrink it down like maybe, there you go, like about yay big. I just want to be able to see the difference here. So anyways, I'm going to grab my little my little clip here that's on the video 2 track, and I'm going to go over to my effects. I'm going to find my track matte effect, the track matte key effect. This is under keying. It's like with your green screen and stuff. I'll put that in there. And then we'll scroll down here, and we see like we've got our track matte key, and we've got our matte, and I'm going to choose my matte is going to be the video 3 track here. Now instantly you see something change. Now I've seen this happen to where like you have to choose between matte alpha and matte luma. Sometimes matte alpha works, sometimes matte luma works. Just depends on kind of what thing you've got. For now I think matte alpha should work. If it doesn't, try matte luma. Anyways, you can see that part of the video is visible. If I were to extend this out, you can see like the other video is still continuing to play. You can see that guy in the orange jumpsuit moving around. Anyways, the idea here is that we can use this as a method of sort of transitioning between the two. So what I might do is this. I'm going to get my track matte. I'm going to animate my track matte to get bigger. I'll have it go from, say, 0, and I'll have that little keyframe there. And then I'll have the next keyframe, I'll have it be, say, 110 or so, just a little bit bigger. So let's go from here. So we can kind of see it grow. And we see this little, now this little wipe transition, this little sort of like you can find this in your transitions, but the difference here is that now we can animate this to be something different. So for instance, if I wanted this to go from, say, for instance, 0, and then maybe I wanted like to give it like a second, what we'll do is we'll create a couple different keyframes here. I'm gonna go here, I'll play it for like a few frames. I'll make a new keyframe. I'm going to just go mouse over one keyframe, and what we'll do is we'll make this 30, and then we'll make this keyframe 0. So what will happen is it'll be 0, and then I'll sort of pop in, right? And then what we'll do is we'll do the same thing here, make another keyframe here, and I'll keep that 30. I'll go over one frame, and I'll turn this to 60. And so we'll see it'll go from 30 to 60. And then from there, I'll go from here, I'll make this 60. And I'll go from 60 to 100. So instead of it sort of growing, we can pop it in like that. So it's the whole idea, though, is that once we have this mat on there, we can animate the mat to do whatever we want. So that's one way of doing it. A very simple way of doing it, of creating your track mat is to create a color mat and then color it white. Whenever it's white, it's going to cause transparency to occur here. So let's see if I can. What I'll do is I'll double click on this and I'll change it to black. All right, and so I don't see like anything's happening there, but there you go. You can also reverse this. If I go over here to my track mat key here and click on this guy, I can reverse this and have it to be where like it'll mask everything else. If I click on reverse, as you can see, it goes the opposite way, you know. So instead of you know, so but of course, like in that case, you would want to make this a little longer here. All right, it's like that, but we'll just undo that. So there you go. Okay, so this will mask in. Boop, boop, boop. There you go. Okay, cool. All right, so we got 3 tracks right now. Let's go over here, and we'll put in the next little track. I'll layer this guy, this little rally car here. I'll lay this guy over here. Maybe a couple seconds in. I'll give these two a couple seconds to go past. I'll get there 5 seconds out. So here we're at 11 seconds. So let's go. Let's find like 17 seconds or so. All right, great, cool. And we'll just drag this out a couple seconds here, as well as this. Okay, so the next method of creating a little track mask, you can create these in any number of graphics programs. If you want to go like to Adobe Illustrator, Adobe After Effects, or to Adobe Photoshop, you can create your own sort of black and white kind of mask here. But what we'll do here is we'll actually create it inside Premiere, and we'll go here. We'll do like we'll go over here to File, New, and we'll create a new legacy title, and I'll call this Track Mat 2. And so we'll create our legacy title. The legacy title is going to basically be a bunch of shapes. So I'll create a rectangle here, and I'll create a rectangle of white. And what we'll do is I'm going to reverse it. I'll make another rectangle here. I have to kind of create it from the top there because I can't like make a rectangle on top of a rectangle. And I'll make this one black. I click over here where it says color, and I'll find this, and I'll just make it black. And I'll get my little move tool up here and sort of drag this into the center. And I'm just going to make a couple more rectangles. Get my little rectangle tool here. I'll make one like so. I'll turn it white. Make sure it's white. Make sure it's not like any of it's like gray. And I'll make another rectangle over here. I'll make it black. And then I'll make one more rectangle over here. And I'll make it white again. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll see if we can maneuver these around to get kind of in the center and create like a series of concentric rectangles, as it were. All right, fun. Here's another one. All right. The tools here are a little bit ticky. I think, again, when we're talking about making graphics, obviously a graphics program might be the easier option, but just to stay inside Premiere, just to show us a tool we have here. All right, so I'm going to take this little track mat here, and I'll just place it on top. We'll do the same thing as before. We'll go over here to our effects. We'll find our track mat key, pop it in here. I want to say for this one, we'll choose Luma key, but I'll just choose Video 5. I'll go from Mat Alpha to Mat Luma. There you go. And so now we can kind of see this hanging out on the inside. So we've got this car here, and then suddenly this appears. So in this case, I think a simple transition from one size to another might do well. So let's go start the position here, no, position scale here. Okay, scale, and then we'll just kind of go over to the next. Let's again make this about big. Let's see here. Let's find a way of making it big enough to cover. I want this center like rectangle here to be covered. So you notice here that in this case the white areas are showing up as actual video. They actually show what's in them, but the black areas are transparent. So I can sort of like just let's look here. Oh wait, I want this to get from 0, so I'll make sure this is 0 here. So this will grow, and it'll create this fun little effect here. That's cool. I like that. So we can kind of see this over time. Obviously, you can make it longer if you wanted to. You can make this like this video down here. Let me just expand this so we can see it a bit better. Okay, so, all right, let's pull this out some. Pull this out some too, and we'll just sort of expand this guy to make this last a little longer. Okay, neat. Okay, so there you go. So again, we could go down here and we could reverse this, and you can kind of see that it would then change all the different, levels of transparency here. Let's do this one more time. Reverse this and sort of play this. There it is. So I'll just keep that the way it was. So again, it plays, then this little thing pops up, and we have this little effect by virtue of the concentric rectangles that we had. Okay, so the last thing we could do is we actually animate some shapes. So I'm going to create some basic shapes here off to the side. I'll just go over this way, and I'll get a new color matte. Actually, no, I'll just get some shapes. So I'll take my little pen tool here, and I'll create a series of rectangles. I'll just go click, click, and make sure that this is pure white. See if I can't grab this and drag this to make it as big as like the bottom of the frame. Try to make it like halfway and stuff. So obviously in this case, you could make this a series of let me click this. Like half like this. And then what I'll do is I will take this and I'll just alt drag it to a layer above, and I'll take my effect controls, my motion here, and I'll just rotate it to where it's 180 degrees. Okay, and so then I'll just sort of grab this shape here, as it were. Make this a bit bigger. This guy. Right, that's good. Cool. Okay, so what we'll do is I'll just animate this. I'll just take this as far as motion goes, and I'm just going to take my position keyframe, and I'll sort of pull this to the side here. Let's see if I can. Obviously, I'll just type in -900. That'll be off the frame a little bit more. And then I'll do the same thing here. I'll make this like, in terms of its position here, like 1800, maybe 1800. Okay, well, how about this? We'll just keep dragging it. There we go. Cool. All right, there's that. And then we'll just pull this in a few seconds later, and I'll have this be 960. And the same thing down here, have this be 960. And so now we see this will sort of like combine in like so. Like that. Okay, so there's that. So what we'll do is we'll click these, we'll right click on these, and we'll create a nested sequence, and we'll call this track mat 3. And essentially what we'll do is just put this on top of the next little clip we've got. My little bumper cars up here. I'll drag this at the top. Put this on top here. Pull this over here. I can sort of then expand these two guys. Oops. Actually, we'll just kind of cut this right here. Okay, so I've cut that because I want to apply the track matte just to this guy here, just to have the little transition. Let me actually move everything just a little bit further over the side, just so I can have some more room to grow here, and then we'll just sort of see this goes like that. Okay, cool. All right, so with that done, what we want to do here, once again, just click this little guy here. I'll go to Effects, and I'll get my track matte key. I'll have the matte be video 7, and let's see if this works. There we go, cool. All right, so we have this little animation. So like I said before, you've got 3 main methods of creating your all you need is either a section of white or a section of white and black. If you wanted to say, for instance, maybe instead of using this over here, I can move this to the side here, drag in, say, for instance, a picture you got offline, like I found this guy over here. I can drag in this guy. You can see now suddenly we've got this guy here. I can change this from matte key to luma key, or matte alpha to matte luma. There you go. And so now suddenly we have this black and white causing this difference here between the two. I don't really care for that, but there you go. So essentially, you've got 3 ways of you've got several ways of doing this. One is just simply adding a color matte. One is adding a legacy title and animating the legacy title, and one is just animating shapes that you then put together to form its own little matte here. Like I said before, you could always make this in Photoshop. You could make this in any number of graphics programs. You could create your own animation inside Adobe After Effects or even inside Premiere in its own right, and then layer it on top later on. But essentially, let's end this by putting a little title, call it Track Matte Transitions, and put your name there below it. And let's go ahead and change the font to something other than change the font to something other than Minion Pro. And center it. Okay, I was not a big fan of this. Let's position this more in the center here. Okay, so whatever it is you choose, that'll be your thing. Right, so just export this as an MP4, obviously, medium bitrate, something to keep it kind of small, and cool, I'll see you in class.